Hey there. Have you ever been responsible to clean out your parents' apartment or house after their passing? The things we learn about our parents. This is what I'm going to talk about during this video. My name is Linda. I am here to help you live your best life now so you can love what you do. Today is Sunday and I've been going to my dad's place nearly every day since the beginning of August for sure, and slightly before that as well. And now we're almost done. We're down to some furniture that I'm going to get rid of because it's really no good, and a couple of other, little things. But the process of going through my dad's apartment, it was a small apartment, was horrible when I first started doing it. It was, after all, his place where he lived for over 10 years. He had lived in other places, but this was his last place. And I'm sure he had brought boxes of documents over the years from place to place. So I had to go through, and I'm not done, but I had to go through many boxes and bags of documents and newspaper clippings to decide whether I kept it or not. And initially, it was like I wanted to almost hold on to everything. But there were certain things, obviously, that were meaningless. Newspaper clippings might have been meaningful to him, but it wasn't something that I could keep. That I could, that I needed for income tax purposes. So I had to start filtering the documents that I kept to the documents that I wouldn't keep at all. But it wasn't just going through the process of physically cleaning out his apartment. It's what I learned about my dad, during that whole process. Now, I'm not going to start telling you what I learned about my dad, because it's not so much about that. It's really about the learning of our parents when we are going through the process. That's what I want to focus on, because it doesn't matter if I learned that my dad loved keeping papers and loved writing to the newspaper when he had, when he was upset about something, whether it was political or whether it was health related or abuse towards seniors. It doesn't matter if he did that. The point is that I learned some things that I never knew about my dad, or things that I didn't really, it wasn't really obvious. And sometimes those things are good, right? Because our parents, just like us, they have a life. They had a life before we were born. They had a life while we were around in the house. And they had a completely different life after we left the house. Just like we, as grown-up adults, we have a different life than we had when our kids were with us and before. And so I saw my dad as a human being who had a full life. He was 91 after all, and he was a very proud miner. As well as an advocate for people's rights and his own rights as well. I heard some of that over the years, but I didn't realize to what extent. He volunteered as well for numerous organizations, so I saw little bits and pieces of that as well. So it's interesting when we go through the process and then we have to decide, what do we do with this information? What do we do with the knowledge of our father or our parents? What do we do with the documents? What do we have? So I've decided that there are certain things that I will be keeping. There's a lot of things that I'm not keeping, and I don't need to keep it. I don't need to hold on to certain things that belong to my father. I had a relationship with him, and my memories are what I'm keeping, right? I don't need material possessions so much to remind me of my father, my relationship with my father. Not so much my father's life, right? Because he was 91, and there were parts of his life from the time he was born till his passing that other people were a witness of. I wasn't a witness of all of that. I was only really a witness to the relationship we had. So why would I hold on to certain things that don't bring any meaning to me? Things that were meaningful to my dad, and he wanted them to be given to other people. I'm on a trail, and I can hear, yeah, here we go. I can hear them coming a ways back. Anyways, if you've ever had to go through the process, just kind of notice what it triggers inside you. Today, when I was getting rid of stuff that was underneath his sink, just containers of cleaning, and I don't know how many plastic bags he had under there, but 20, 30 plastic bags. I thought, oh my God, why did you keep all this stuff? And of course, as I went through all the different things, I wondered, why did you keep all this stuff? People keep things for many different reasons. I've kept things because they brought value to me, or they reminded me of something, or maybe because one day I was going to do something with it. And my dad was probably more than likely the same, because he was a human being, after all. So I've learned to look at my dad from a different perspective over the process of cleaning out his apartment. We're almost done, not quite. I've got till the end of August to finish this part of the job. And then my executive role continues, but not so much in this way at all. It'll be done. But I want you to think about that. And if your parents are still alive, which more than likely they will be, how are you helping them make those maybe sometimes tough decisions? Or is it necessary to help them make those tough decisions, to get rid of certain things and to hold on to certain things? My son, he's in his late 30s, and he and I had a completely different perspective. Of course, because I was thinking, oh man, we got to bring this to Valley Village. He says, Mom, it's dirty, just get rid of it. So I told him, do whatever you want with it. I don't want to know. And I know exactly what he did with it. But I gave him permission to do what he wanted with it. Once I gave him that permission, I really didn't care what he did with it. All I knew is that I didn't want to be stuck with making the decision anymore. So if you can help your parents make some of those decisions, like my son did with me, it'll be helpful. How else can you be helpful as your parents get older, right? Because like in my dad's case, he was independent. He had his way of doing things. He had his way of living, and it was none of my business. It was none of my business when he was alive how he kept his apartment, what he kept, what he didn't keep. And really, who are we to say what they should keep and not keep? But somehow along the way, or at some point, we're going to be responsible to maybe have to clean things out. That's where it gets really important. So just things for you to think of as you get on with your life, and as your parents also possibly get on with their lives too. This is Linda G. Robert, your Back in the Groove Again coach, helping you live your best life right now. so you can love what you do. For information on my services, go to my website, lindagrobert.com. Send me an email. Let me know what you've done in the past that have helped you make these types of tough decisions, or maybe helped your parents as well. Send me an email at backinthegrooveagain@gmail.com. Bye, take care, have a great day.